So welcome to E2 Quantum Physics Part 1, where we will look at the photoelectric effect. This subtheme is entirely HL, higher level material. Now our story of quantum physics begins where the classical wave theory of light started to fail. Specifically, were the assumptions of the classical wave theory of light. What were some of these assumptions? It was assumed, we're talking about the 19th century and before, that light energy will transfer continuously as waves, hence the classical wave theory of light. It was assumed that brighter light means higher amplitude waves. It was also assumed that energy will build up over time no matter the frequency of the electromagnetic radiation. And it was also assumed that dim light should eventually eject electrons from, let's say, some sort of metal body, that over enough time we should see the ejection of electrons even with dim light. But experiments failed to illustrate these assumptions. One of the more famous experiments that failed to meet the expectations of classical wave theory of light was one that came to be known as the Ultraviolet Catastrophe. So again, in the 19th century, we're talking, there was this Rayleigh-Jeans equation shown in the blue, and it assumed that as wavelength gets smaller, the energy level in Webers would continuously increase in the light. Right? So that was the assumption, that as the wavelength of the light becomes smaller, we should see more and more energy. However, that was not what was seen in experiments. And Planck was able to create an equation that better mirrored what was seen in the data and the experimentation. And that we could see there in the Planck model, where as the wavelength got smaller, it reached eventually a peak energy level, but then it started to decrease again. And his model utilized or relied on the fact that photons have quantized energy levels. That's what we talked about in the previous subtheme. And that was able to better model the results that they saw in experimentation. After Planck, we have Einstein, who was able to bring this all together, eventually winning a Nobel Prize for his theories. What did he bring together, and how did he reconcile what we saw in the experiments and the scientific theories behind electromagnetic radiation, or light in general? So he determined that electromagnetic radiation consists of photons. So it wasn't only a wave. We could also think about it as these particles known as photons. Each photon's energy was equal to Planck's constant times the frequency of the photon. One photon could only interact with one electron. And photons disappear. They transfer all the energy to the electron, and then they will no longer appear. Einstein also developed this idea of the threshold frequency, where there was a minimum frequency needed to eject an electron, and that explained why electrons were not emitted at every wavelength level, because you have to have a certain frequency in order to eject a particular electron. This corresponds to the work function, which we'll be working with more in this video. That's the amount of energy required to free an electron. If energy was greater than that work function, then the surplus energy went into the electron, allowing it to eject and move at a certain velocity. And also, a part of Einstein's theories here was that higher intensity equals more photons per second, but not necessarily higher photon energy. So bringing this all together, right? So again, as a recap, we saw a lot of text in the last slide, right? So Einstein proposed that light travels as discrete energy packets, no longer the classical wave theory. Rather, we have quantized energy levels. Each photon carrying the energy known as from Planck's law, energy is equal to Planck's constant times the frequency of that particular photon. Single photons interact with single electrons, so there's no energy accumulation over time. And the maximum kinetic energy is the frequency of the photon times Planck's constant minus the work function. And if there's not enough energy to surpass that work function, that means there will be no ejection of electrons, thereby explaining the phenomenon where at certain frequencies, at certain wavelengths of light, there was no electrons being emitted because the energy level was not great enough. And putting this all together allowed for the experiments to match the theories. Building on what we just talked about, we have the stopping voltage. So if we're to think about the idea that when light shines on a metal surface, right, it can eject electrons if the photons have enough energy. And that is from this equation given to you in the data booklet, what will be eventually this equation right here, given to you in the data booklet, right? So if the energy of the photon is more than the work function, then that surplus energy will go into the electron as kinetic energy, allowing it to move at that particular velocity. The work function being the minimum energy required to eject an electron, where the energy is defined by Planck's constant times the frequency of the photon. So if we were to apply a negative voltage against the that was sufficient to counteract the electron's kinetic energy, that's known as the stopping voltage. That negative voltage would prevent the emission of electrons. Right, so that's a vocabulary word they want to know because it occasionally comes up in the questions, and I put it in the questions in the end of this topic, at the end of the standard. Actually, now wait, so we'll get into the questions. Right, so we have the questions, a couple of questions relating to these ideas in order to really develop the ideas and make sure that we have a good understanding of them. I will start with the questions relating to this standard in the next video. That was just some of the theory behind it. Feel free to try to tackle these questions on your own. I'll post the PDF of this slide I'll upload the PDF of the slide. You can work on the questions by yourselves and then come back and see if we have the same working answers, right? So see everybody for the next video where we start looking at a couple of questions relating to the photoelectric effect.